Filipino abroad. Discover the untold journey to Singapore and Canada.
And those working overseas can feel especially isolated, and it's okay to feel lost or overwhelmed.
From the Philippines to Singapore and Canada, the untold journey of living abroad, overcoming challenges, embracing change, and defying the odds.
Filipinos' life transition. Many of you have requested us to feature the lives of Filipinos living abroad, and as we step into the new year, we're excited to share exactly that.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to leave everything behind, cross oceans, and build a new life? In today's video, we're diving into the untold stories of inspiring Filipinos abroad, their challenges, triumphs, and incredible journeys. But the real question is, what happens when resilience and faith lead to success? Stay tuned to find out. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss out on more inspiring stories and valuable insights about vibrant Filipino connections wherever you are in the world. As we welcome the new year, let's take a moment to reflect on the power of resilience, ambition, and courage. Today, we'll have Marge with us, who left the Philippines in her early 20s in search of better opportunity. Her journey took her from Singapore to Canada, and today, she continues to make a difference, not only in her family's life, but in the lives of many others. Marge is not only a loving daughter, wife, and mother of two, but also a friend, software test engineer, author, investor, and entrepreneur. Her story isn't just about career success. It's about adjusting to life in new countries and growing through adversity. She's also not afraid to share her struggles with depression and how she overcame it, knowing that many others are facing similar battles. Let's dive into her inspiring journey. Thanks so much for joining us today, Marge. Let's jump right into your journey. So, first off, how long has it been since you left the Philippines? And how have your experiences in Singapore and Canada shaped who you are today?
I left the Philippines in 2006, so it's been almost 18 years. Looking back, it feels like I've been through a lifetime of challenges and growth. Back then, I was working in information technology. I saved up for a year to make my dreams of working abroad a reality, because I didn't have anyone to rely on when it comes to financial support, just by myself. So what I did was I saved up my salary until I had 100,000 pesos, which is a lot of money at the time. And with my credit cards in hand, I took a leap of faith. The day I left was my first time ever on a plane. I didn't really know exactly what to expect, where I was heading, but I knew it was the beginning of something big. I can still picture my mom's face, with tears in her eyes as she watched me, her only daughter, leave. And as the plane took off, I was holding on my seat when my heart was racing. I remembered a verse from the Bible, Jeremiah 29 verse 11, telling me that there was a plan for me, even if I couldn't see it. It helped me distract me from my fear of heights and a certainty of what lay ahead. I arrived in Singapore as a tourist, determined to find a job, and every week I felt like a test of fate as I navigated the new city and culture. During that time, I met some amazing people who helped me grow, not only in my career, but also as a person. I spent 3 years in Singapore and worked in a multinational company before the opportunity in Canada showed up. In 2010, I was offered an internal transfer to the company's Canadian office. It wasn't a simple transition though. Before I could even move, I had to prove myself why they should hire someone who's not local at the time. It was a lot of work, but it paid off when they sponsored me and also helped me to get my permanent residency. Moving to Canada was a new chapter that required me to push through challenges, learn to adapt to a new culture, continue to prove myself in every step of the way. Looking back, the journey from the Philippines to Singapore to Canada helped me to become more resilient, self-reliant, and open to change. It's been a path of growth, not just professionally, but also personally as I learned to trust the process, face fears, and embrace new opportunities.
Wow, that's an incredible journey. Along the way, I'm sure there were some tough moments. Can you share with us one of your lowest points during this journey and how you managed to push through it?
I think every time you go to transition phase, it's never easy. I remember the time when I was in Singapore and I was desperate searching for jobs. My savings were running out, and being so far from my family made it even harder. I felt like I was sinking, but I made a conscious choice not to lose hope. Those difficult moments that my faith grew stronger. At that point, I had no one to rely on but God. When you put trust in people, sometimes it doesn't go away the way you hope it, and that includes trusting yourself. I remember my friends telling me that they saw me as a strong person, but the truth was, when no one was around, I would break down in tears, questioning everything in life. But even through that pain, I learned to give it all to Him. And in surprise in turn, He showed me that His plan was bigger than I had ever imagined. I remember when I finally got a job offer in Singapore, my training for the first couple of months was in Canada. And at that point, I knew something bigger was unfolding. Moving to Canada was a new ballgame. It felt like a child again, in a completely foreign land. I had to learn so many things from like driving for the first time, adjusting to the cultural differences. In Singapore, I had a strong support system. But in Canada, I found myself completely on my own. And even the simplest things felt like a huge challenge. I started to just spend so much time working and working. That was my life. Also, the weather was different. Wintertime here can be really challenging at times. At that point, it seemed like every part of me was being reshaped. No matter how much faith I had, I realized when your body is constantly being shocked and you don't have your support system, you don't have a community, incredibly hard to keep up. Eventually, you'll hit a point where everything feels like too much. I hit that rock bottom here, and it led to a deep depression. What's often misunderstood when you're going through such difficult time, that people can easily judge you. Angry or sad all the time, they will notice it. But what's even more dangerous is when you appear fine on the outside. People think everything is okay. When you're alone, you start looking for ways to escape the pain in unhealthy ways. It can affect your mind, body, and soul. Over time, those struggles can catch up with you, and they can feel suffocating. I learned that even in those darkest moments, seeking help and giving yourself grace are the first steps toward healing. It's a reminder that we're not meant to carry everything all alone, and sometimes letting go and allowing others and the universe and whoever you believe in, whatever you want to call it, is there to help you and is the only way to move forward.
What was the main reason you decided to leave the Philippines? Was it something you felt driven to do on your own? Or were there people around you who influenced that decision?
The reason? It's deeply connected to my experience when I was growing up. I remember when I was in high school, watching my neighbors from places like Korea, US, or Dubai. We call them balikbayan. So they were working overseas and then they come back home and they had this different energy in them. Some even had their own business. So as a young girl watching all these people around me, I was inspired. It feels like they have so much in life. I could see the opportunities they had. It's not just about seeing the world, but it's about finding a way to build a better life. I came from a dysfunctional family, and I saw the toll that it took from my mom. And I think the culture where I came from, there's a lot of people that can resonate in my experience. When they were a child, they see all these challenges like people that they love that's hurting one another physically, not just verbally, abuse in the family, alcohol problem. It's just very common, drug addiction. Mom's strength, despite of everything, was my inspiration. But it wasn't just my mom that I look up to. I would say my dad too. Not just all bad things. There's also some good things he provided for us. I'll never forget the time when my father was about to board on the flight for his job in Saudi Arabia. And at the last minute, his flight was canceled. The project was dismissed and he was laid off from his job. I remember feeling so helpless. How my brothers are going to finish the school? That question haunted me. I was still in university at the time, but I knew I needed to find a way to provide for my family, help my siblings, for whatever I could. I also watched my brother, a smart and talented guy, became a victim of fraternity or violence. The place that I grew up with was filled with struggles. News was constantly filled with stories of abuse, crime, and despair. And I had a tiny room surrounded by books, and I turned to reading these books as an escape. I knew that the only way to change our circumstances was to finish school, get a job, and help my family. It wasn't just about surviving day by day, it was about working toward a better future. And in that, I learned resilience. That resilience became the foundation of everything that I followed. As I got older, I realized I needed a new environment, a fresh start. So I wanted to help my siblings, but I was still in college myself. I knew that for me to make a real difference, I had to step outside my comfort zone. I needed change, and I needed to be in a place where I could grow, learn, and truly thrive. Well, people move for many reasons. Some for opportunity, some for adventure, some to escape difficult situations. For me, it was all those things. I needed a change, and I knew that taking a leap was the only way forward. Back, it was the start of the journey that pushed me to grow and helped me to be the person I am today.
Wow. It sounds like you went through so much growing up, and I'm really inspired by how you managed to pull through all of that. It's amazing that you're now able to share your story to inspire others who might be going through similar struggles. I'm sure there's someone out there, maybe even a young Marge, who's facing the same challenges right now. What would you say to them? What advice would you give to someone who's trying to find their way, just like you once did?
Thank you for saying that. Reflecting on everything I went through, it still feels unreal. But I remember how challenging it was at the time. When I was young, I was just living day by day, trying to get through each moment and doing whatever I had to do to survive. If there's someone out there, a young Marge, facing similar struggles right now, here's what I would say. First, you're not alone. No matter how isolated you may feel, there's always someone who has gone through something similar. What you're experiencing right now is not the end of your story. Life has a way of unfolding unexpected ways. As you hold on to hope and keep pushing forward, things can and will get better. Your current situation is just a chapter in your life. It's not the entire book. Second is focus on solutions, not the situation. I tell this usually to my girls as well. Things felt overwhelming for me. I made a conscious decision to focus on what I could do to move forward, even if it was just one small step at a time. The hardest part of any journey is taking the first step. But once you do, you'll realize that things will slowly start to shift. It's easy to get caught up in the problems and feel that you're stuck. Ask yourself, what can I do to make this better? Third is, don't be afraid to ask. Make sure you ask the right people. It's easy to think that you need to do everything on your own, especially when things are tough. But reaching out for support is a sign of strength, not weakness. You gotta be careful who you're gonna confide in. Talking to the wrong person can sometimes make things worse. Ask for help from the people who are positive, trustworthy, and have best interest in your heart, not just like gossiping with your problems. Those who can offer you guidance, and I would say professionals as well. Surround yourself with people that lift you up and not the ones that drain your energy. When you look back, those challenges will be the things that help to shape you. And as you grow older, you'll find that this mindset of focusing on solutions, taking small steps, asking help, will apply to every area of your life. It may feel impossible now, but trust me, it will get better. Keep going, even when it seems hard. Remember that every step you take is progress.
What advice would you give to people who have recently moved to Canada or are planning to move?
Things have changed significantly. And while there are many opportunities, there are also many challenges that people are not prepared of. If you're planning to move to Canada or recently moved, here's some advice based on my own experience. It's what I would recommend. First, do your research before you make a decision of coming here. It's crucial to do your research. Canada is a great country, but Just like everywhere else, there are pros and cons. And if people focus on the positives, such as opportunities, don't ignore the potential challenges. For example, many people, especially the ones coming under student visas, come here unprepared and face unexpected struggles. Some even end up homeless due to issues like not being able to find affordable accommodation or falling victim to scams. Competition for jobs nowadays here in Canada is fierce, even for those not on student visas, so make sure you're fully aware of reality before you arrive. And look at both sides, the good and the bad. If the positive outweighs the negatives after a thorough consideration, go for it. But always make informed decision. Don't just move here because you wanted to escape your current situation because you're sick of it. Second, for those who's already here, I would say, you have to see people for who they are. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is to see people who truly they are, not just look at the color of the skin or the physical looks or where they come from. I learned that from one of the successful entrepreneurs here, not just stereotype mentality. You started to have certain judgment. You gotta see them for who truly they are. Treat them equally. So growing up, I was conditioned to believe that when you have fairer skin, you're better. If you're taller, a slimmer figure make you superior to others. It was so ingrained that we even added pictures to our resumes back in the days. After working with people from different cultures and living in diverse countries, I realized that these superficial judgments only hold you back. If you think you're lower than others, then you limit your potential. But if you think you're better, you lose sight of your own growth. It's important to embrace diversity and treat everyone equally. The third one, I would say, invest in yourself. Jimmer said, the major key to your better future is you. Moving to a new country is an excellent opportunity to grow. But it's important to invest in yourself consistently so you don't just focus on survival mode. Focus on development. Continue to expand your skills by reading, attending seminars, working with mentors or coaches, connecting with people who inspire you or bigger than you. To grow, you invest in yourself, you shift your mindset from focusing on problems or scarcity to seeing opportunity for growth and success. Start to approach challenges with more positive outlook. The growth you're investing in will pay off in the long run. Remember, there's no journey without ups and downs, but with preparation, the right mindset, and continuous self-investment, your experience in Canada or any new country can be incredibly rewarding one.
We've learned so much about you, and it's truly impressive that you've written several books over the past few years. I'm curious, how has your dedication to investing in yourself contributed to reaching milestones like obtaining your real estate license and earning your John Maxwell coaching certification? And with everything you have going on, from working full-time to raising 2 young kids, how do you manage to balance it all?
It definitely wasn't easy, but I believe that investing in myself and using the challenges that I've experienced to encourage someone else can learn from it is the way to move forward. Years ago, when my mother-in-law passed away, I found an inspiration to write my first book. It's called One Step at a Time, and it made me realize how life is so short, and I realized that I'm in much better place now compared when I was much younger. So if there's one person that can be inspired in my story, I think it was all worth it. I wrote that book because there's always a message inside of me that I want to share to others. And over the last couple of years, I published multiple books and even started new ventures. Just about finding time for all of this was also having the determination and finding the right support system. No one will do it for you unless, I guess, if you have the money, you can pay someone to do it. But even then, you still need to do the draft of your manuscript, right? I'm just a firm believer that if you want to do something, you also have to be willing to do the work to make it happen. When my husband was laid off, it was a wake-up call for me to take action. Things can change so quickly, and I knew I had to be proactive. Not the type of person who want to rely on others so much, especially when it comes to the financial aspect. It was a time when I knew I have to make things happen for myself and family. With no one to depend on financially and a deep desire to support my family, both in the Philippines and here in Canada, I chose to step outside my comfort zone. Did I always enjoy it? No. But my vision was crystal clear, and I pushed myself relentlessly, I would say, to achieve it. When I was on parental leave with my second child, got my real estate license and completed my coaching certification, and I'm sharing this not to brag, but hopefully to inspire our audience. No matter what your circumstances are, you too can push through and achieve your goals. For my first book, I invested in a course and also hired a coach to help me to be more accountable. That helped me to publish my book in less than a year. I work on my real estate license. My mom and my brother were here to help me with my kids. I wasn't getting paid when I was realtor unless I sell a house, but I did it because I want to understand investing in real estate. My husband also stepped up, looking after my little ones while I worked on my coaching certification. I'm a firm believer of having the right people around you to make things happen. Every cent I spent on the project wasn't just an expense. I saw it as an investment in my future. And I can honestly say it's paid off in ways I never imagined. The support and resources I had helped me juggle everything and keep growing, despite life's unpredictability. I was motivated that if I wanted to do something, I have to make it happen. If you want to start a business and you don't have the money, you don't just give up. So know what you want and then find ways to make it happen. For some people, the idea of spending money on coaches or mentors or even seminars can feel daunting. We have a lot of free materials out there. I consume a lot of free materials as well, but I also believe on the paid ones can give you a different value. And there's just something different when you're investing in yourself. It makes you more accountable, I would say. If you truly look at successful people, they invest in themselves because they know that it's necessary to achieve their goal. If you're willing to spend money on leisure or material things, but hesitate when it comes to investing in your personal growth, that speaks volume about your priorities. For me, those decisions to invest in courses and mentors multiplied my income, boosted my confidence, helped me reach some of my biggest goals. I could have not published my book by myself. Investing in yourself is an investment that keeps paying dividends, not just in financial terms, but in every area of my life.
What message would you like to share with Filipinos who have relatives working overseas? And how can they stay connected and supported despite the distance?
My message is simple. Check in on them just beyond the surface. Many people who work abroad carry a lot of pain and struggle quietly, often not sharing the difficulties they face with their families back home. It's easy to only hear about the good times or the financial success, but there's so much more going on that they may not be able to express. Sometimes when we talk to our loved ones overseas, conversation centers around our achievements, money and success, the good stuff. But what we don't talk about is the emotional toll, loneliness, the depression, the challenges, the anxiety that they are facing almost every day. So take a moment to really check in, not just by asking their work or how much money they've sent, but by asking, how are you really doing? How are you feeling? Are you okay? It's not just for Filipinos. I guess this is more for everybody. The rate of depression linked to these challenges is growing. And those working overseas can feel especially isolated. Being there with a listening ear, letting them know that you understand them. I know some people that couldn't escape with this reality. Many of them took their lives. It's unfortunate. Being there with a listening ear. Let them know that you love them, that you see that the sacrifice they're making, you're there for them, no matter what. Small gestures of understanding can mean the world to someone who feels like they're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders far from home.
For those who are going through depression or tough times, especially if you're in a new country or facing a big transition, what message would you like to share with them?
If you're going through depression or tough times, know that you're not alone. And it's okay to feel lost or overwhelmed. You are not alone. Some advice I can give: say first, reach out for support. It can feel incredibly isolating. Talking to someone, whether it's a friend, family, or therapist, can help. Sometimes just sharing how you feel can be a huge relief. Take things one step at a time. You're feeling depressed? Everything might seem overwhelming. Break things down into smaller, more manageable steps. Celebrate the small victories, like getting out of bed or eating a meal. Progress is progress, no matter how small. Third, allow yourself to feel. It's okay to have bad days. Don't pressure yourself to snap out of it or push your feeling aside. Acknowledge what you're going through and give yourself grace. Professional help. Help will not come if you're just sitting down. You also have to do your part. So a counselor or therapist can help you work through your feelings and provide coping strategies. In some cases, medication can also help, but don't hesitate to talk to your doctor if you think it could be the right for you. Last, I would say be patient with yourself. Healing takes time, so it's okay if you don't have all the answers right away. Just keep showing up for yourself, and little by little, things can improve. Remember that your feelings are valid, and there's no shame on seeking help. You are worthy of support and kindness, especially from yourself.
We have many Filipino friends living abroad who are watching you right now. What message would you like to share with them?
I would say, if you haven't back to the Philippines for a while, I encourage you to consider visiting. It took more than 10 years before I decided to visit the Philippines. I mean, life happens. I got busy, but there's just huge shift on my mindset when I did that. You'd be surprised at how it can help you to rediscover your roots and appreciate what you have in life. Also, believe in yourself. As Filipinos, we are often raised to think of others before ourselves. Growing up, I struggled with that mentality. So I had to rewire my brain and learn that I also matter. Filipinos are incredibly smart, generous, and talented. Yet many of us get shy when acknowledging our own strengths. Believe in yourself, because it doesn't matter how many people believe in you if you don't. Own it and be proud of who you are. After dealing with so many challenges, I realized that it's okay to admit that you're not okay. You don't have to pretend everything is fine at all times. When you're struggling, prioritize yourself. When you're at your best, when you can give your best to others, that's when you can serve others better. Last and not least, set filters. Consume less, create more. To set filters on the information you consume, whether it's who you connect with, what you watch, or even what you read. There will always be people around you who won't like you or who will try to bring you down. Don't waste your time or energy in them. Social media is one of the major causes of depression nowadays. So challenge yourself to consume less and create more. Remember, every step you take is part of your journey. Keep believing in yourself. Take time to heal when needed. And be mindful for the people you're hanging out, what you're consuming.
What message would you like to share with our non-Filipino audience?
To our non-Filipino audience, I'd say this. Filipinos, in general, are known for being friendly, warm, and respectful people. However, like in any culture, it's important to remember that everyone is unique. How a person behaves can vary from individual to individual. What you might see in the social media doesn't reflect the full picture of a culture. Where you are or who you are interacting with, people with respect is key. It's important to understand the value of setting healthy boundaries and appreciating the people around you. Whether you're engaging with a Filipino or anyone from another culture, mutual respect, kindness, and understanding are foundations of building full connections. Thanks again for having me here.
Wow, what an inspiring journey we've just heard from Marge. From a young girl leaving the Philippines with dreams of a better life, facing numerous challenges, and working tirelessly to help her family, she truly embodies resilience and determination. Marge explored opportunities, grew her faith in God and herself, and not only built a successful career, but is now using her story to uplift and inspire others, especially those going through tough times. Her story is a powerful reminder that no matter where you start, you have the power to change your life. It's never too late to make that change, even if it's just one small step at a time. I hope you're all feeling as inspired as I am right now to take action and make the change in your own lives. If you'd like to learn more, Marge's book is available on her website, margedeblasio.org, where you can dive deeper into her journey.
And if you have your own inspiring story or know someone who does, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd love to feature it. Remember, life is short, so don't wait. Make that change now. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more stories like Marge's. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.